trust me? Do you look at her the way you looked at me? The way you looked at me. And I wish you happiness. I hope that you get better, and I'm so sorry for your disease. But if you don't make it, don't know if I'll come, but if I even come, I'll be the girl behind the tree. I love it when I get inspired by other musicians. And lots of times it's something simple, like maybe a really cool chord progression that'll say, wow, and I'll play it over and over again. I'll get obsessive about it for a few days. Or maybe it's a vocal lick, and it's like, wow, how did they do that? I want to do that. I want to try that. And then I'll drive myself crazy for a week or two trying to figure out how'd they do that. And even if I'm not always fully successful, I learn a ton. One of my favorite things is when I just hear like a snippet of a song or a little bit of something, maybe in the car or in Trader Joe's, and I don't quite have like the whole picture, but there's something in it that's really sticking with me, and I'll come home and I'll play it over and over again, and or maybe for hours I'll sit there just playing with this, maybe create something, and then the first thing I'll do is panic because I'll be thinking, did I just copy somebody else's song? But then I'll go back and I'll listen to that other person's song and I'll realize, no, what I had done was nothing like that. But that little sliver of inspiration worked like a seed that I was able to play around with, and it blossomed into something totally different. In the 70s on Saturday Night Live, Gilda Radner played a character called Emily Latilla. And Emily Latilla would come on as a guest on Weekend Update, which was Saturday Night Live's little segment, like a CNN thing. But the problem with Emily Latilla was she never heard what the issue was exactly. She just heard a piece of it, and then she would go off on some tirade about something she didn't even hear right, and it was ridiculous, and it was really, really funny. One of the ones I remember was when she was invited to come on Weekend Update to talk about Soviet Jewry, and she came on, she's like, I don't know why everybody's making such a fuss about Soviet jewelry. I had a Mickey Mouse watch once, and my father had... And she was going on and on and on. She just took it to the moon. What I love about improvisation and writing songs is when you do get inspired with just a little sliver of a piece, just enough that you can hear it a little bit wrong, and then you play with your own Soviet jewelry and you take it to your own moon. I started out as a classical pianist. My parents were very conservative, Russian, Eastern European, and I loved Joni Mitchell. All I wanted to do was be Joni Mitchell. I loved the Beatles, but I was also sheltered, didn't know a whole lot about the world or how to do anything other than, oh, my mom said do this, my dad said to do that. And classical music appeared to be the only avenue open to me. And my record collection, of course, I had every Joni Mitchell album, I had the Beatles, the Doors, the Who, James Taylor. But I also had George Szell and the Cleveland Symphony, Stravinsky piano music, Debussy piano music, Ravel piano music. But there was one hybrid album I picked up when I was in college. I went to Indiana University in Bloomington. It was Catherine Berberian singing folk songs. Now, Catherine Berberian was like a very classically trained singer, but she was doing this album of folk songs. I'd never heard anything like it, and I listened to it over and over and over. It was my favorite album in college. Then fast forward a few years, moved on to another phase of life. I got married to a pop jazz keyboardist who was incredible. He toured the world. He played with everybody. He could play anything by ear. And I loved listening to him, but I also felt a little frustrated in myself because I could play Chopin with the best of them. But if someone would have said, on the spot, go play Mary Had a Little Lamb, I would have had to think about it. I was not even qualified to play with the simplest band. And like I said, it frustrated the heck out of me. A number of years, actually. I did other things. I went to art school for a while. I'd always written poetry, so I became my husband's lyricist and we wrote songs together. But I'd given up on my own music for maybe about 10 years. Eventually, I started to creep back in, but I bought myself my first keyboard. And here's the big thing. I made a promise to myself that no sheet of music would ever be seen around this keyboard. I was just going to improvise, create by ear. And it took some time, it didn't come right away. But when it did started coming, it started like really coming. And after not too long a period of time, I had amassed this collection of songs. One day, I finally got up the guts to play them for my husband. And he said, these are great songs. We need to do an album on you. Wolves at my door. Wolves at my door. It did really well. Got a great public response. Critics loved it. And I was really proud of the album, proud of myself, but it bothered me a little that critics, they're like, this is so Broadway, or it's a singer-songwriter, but it's so classical. My now ex-husband, he could feel what my music was, where it came from, and he took it all the way there, as that's the vibe I was putting out. It was in every cell of my writing. But that's not who I thought I was. Inside I was this rock and roller, and outside I was like, I'm sure I'm putting negative spin on it that nobody else was, but I wanted to be the Beatles. But I wasn't. And I've released 6 CDs now, but my albums to follow Wolves at My Door. I went through different periods where, I did an electronica. It wasn't really electronica, but it's a good album. And then another one, Live and Alive, I went through an Enya crush. I wanted to be Enya. And then my 2010 album, Phoenix, it was like, I'm going to be a rock star. These are my rock songs. And they kind of were, and they kind of are. But I'm not really a rock singer either. I went through this whole immersion period in trying different things. Am I a pencil? Am I a tree? It was a whole musical identity thing that I had to go through, and I did very, very publicly. The closest I came was in 2016. I felt I was going back to my roots, and I worked with the late, great John Jennings, and we did an album of my songs in a more acoustic folk style, and the album did well. I even made it to number 20 on the folk charts, and I tried to immerse myself in the folk world. I joined the organizations, I went to the events, and this round peg sort of almost fit the oblong hole. Like if you really push it in there tight, yeah, she's a folk artist. I mean, I was sort of almost fitting in there, but I wasn't exactly really, and some radio DJs who were folk purists wouldn't play me. A lot of the top folk venues, they wouldn't book me. They say, you're not really folk. So I got pretty close, but I didn't fully really belong there either. About 5 years ago, my friend and backup singer Vanessa, she turned me on to an album called Map to the Treasure, reimagining the songs of Laura Nyro, produced by Billy Childs. This album very quickly became my favorite album. If you pull it up on iTunes or Amazon, you'll see it's classified as a jazz album, but it's not really a jazz album. I mean, I guess it is, but very, very strong classical elements. When I hear it, I hear Bartok, I hear echoes of Ravel, Debussy. It's soulful, it's rock, it's folky. It has all these elements that if I was to be the one who had to say what's the genre of this album, I couldn't tell you. Much the same reaction that I had to the Catherine Barbarian album so many years ago. It's completely, unapologetically genreless. And this album, it wasn't just inspiration, it was affirmation. Just do you. Let your music be what it's going to be and stop trying to force yourself into meaningless concepts. One of my first songs that I sat down to really hash out and write, inspired by this masterpiece I was listening to on a daily basis, is a song about a doomed love affair called Girl Behind the Trees. When I sat down at the piano, I gave myself permission to let go of preconceived notion of what genre it should be. I just thought of the greats before me, Catherine Barbarian, Billy Childs. We're going to let this song speak for itself. Up against your refrigerator door, how you wanted me, we both wanted so much more. And I'm thrilled with how the song came out. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. And I'm going to play the rest of it for you in a moment. If you like what I do, what I have to say, please like and subscribe. And thank you again so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye. I wish you happiness. I hope that you get better, and I'm so sorry for your disease. Don't make it, don't know if I'll come, but if I even come, I'll be the girl behind the tree. And I wish you happiness. I hope that you get better. And I'm so sorry. But if you don't make it, don't know Thank you.